So here we have the X100V. So this camera came out in 2019 and you still can't get it anywhere. I would think production will catch up by now, but with how expensive like the Leica Q2 or Q3 is, honestly, this is an awesome option. So you guys might say, you know, the X100V isn't really a budget camera, but what other cameras in its price range you can get that produce this type of image? So it has a pretty fast lens on it, f2, which a lot of cameras in this price range don't have such a fast lens. And this is a super sharp lens. So the X100F before this, it was still an awesome camera. I think it was at least 90% of what this camera is. A big part it was lacking before, it was the video quality. It only shot in 1080p. This one shoots in 4K. And the focusing system on that camera wasn't as good as this one. So I think it was at least 90% of this camera. But now you get 4K, you better focusing, and this lens is just much sharper. So for that price, $1,500, there's not many other cameras in its price range that can produce these type of features and photos. So what I love about this camera, you can bring it anywhere and not too many people kind of pay attention to it. You're kind of under a radar. When I show this camera to people, they actually think it's a film camera most of the time. People don't take it as seriously, don't think you're, you know, shooting any commercial photography, commercial video when you have this camera. So this camera is super versatile. You might say, hey, the lens doesn't come off. But you can get this teleconverter for it. You can get a wide converter for it. So it's pretty versatile. Obviously, you can't change the lenses, but honestly, this lens, f2, it's super sharp. So the previous version of this camera, the X100F, I had a couple of those. I had the black one and silver one of that camera, and those lenses just aren't as sharp. I don't think they go to f2 either. I don't remember. Let me know in the comments what that camera goes down to. I think it was f2.2, but might be wrong. But yeah, this camera goes down to f2, which produces awesome shallow depth of field, awesome photos. And what I use this camera the most, actually, and for anyone kind of trying to do the same hack as I do. So for some concerts, I try and get a media pass, press pass, you know, so I don't have no issues bringing a bigger camera or anything into the concert. But when I don't want to deal with it, or, you know, if the band or venue don't respond to me in time and I have tickets for a show, I usually bring this. So I'm going to post some photos I took at concerts with this camera. And honestly, there's been shows where I shot with this, just walked in like everybody, bought a normal ticket, and the band actually reaches out to me and tries to get those photos from me. It's that type of quality. So you can get almost as good of quality concert photos as like big camera, full frame camera with this camera. And if you can sneak in a teleconverter or something into the show, you can get even up closer photos, and it just makes it look even better because you get a little bit more shallow depth of field, you know, with a more telephoto type of lens. So I love this camera. I've had it for about 6 months. I've taken it to Denver. I'll post some photos of that too. I've taken it to plenty of shows, and I just have it in my everyday sling every day, basically. So I have this, the teleconverter, and a GoPro with me at all times, basically. And the images this camera produces are just amazing. So another feature I love of this camera, the film recipes and the film emulations and everything like that. The things that are built into here, I usually shoot in the Vivid film simulation, and you can do recipes too, so you can tweak these film simulations. So I have it set, this outside ring. When I spin it, I can change different film simulations this way. So the beauty of that, obviously we're all used to kind of editing photos at home. So you're gonna shoot a bunch of raw images, import them into your computer, and then just edit. But sometimes you don't want to do that, and not every event kind of requires all this editing. So what I do with this camera, I shoot RAW plus JPEG, which, you know, you can do it on other cameras too, but the JPEG version of these photos is basically like edited version of it. So they're very rich colors, and you can kind of tweak the look, how you want your photos to look, and the JPEG will look how you want it. So it's just awesome. So when I shoot an event, or I take it somewhere, I just take all the JPEGs, upload them to Google Photos, and I can use them for social media. Or if it was an event or something like that, I can send it to friends and family, and it's a nice quick process. That was a big thing that I kind of get burnt out with, that you have to edit raw images in certain cameras. So like I mentioned concerts before, I used to shoot a concert, get home midnight, I have work the next day, and I just didn't feel like editing all those images. But I wanted to get them online as quick as possible, so you kind of get that traction for the event and everything. So I was staying up till 1, 2 a.m. editing these images, trying to upload them online to be one of the first ones from that show to edit them. And with this camera, I can just use the JPEGs right away, upload them online, and the workflow is so much quicker, obviously, JPEGs compared to RAW. So this is a big plus about this camera, the quality of the JPEGs. And a lot of other cameras just don't produce as good of JPEGs as this one does. So let me know what type of content or what type of questions you have about this camera. Like I mentioned, I've had it for about 6 months, but I had a few X100Fs before that. So if you guys have any questions, or maybe you just got a X100V, or you have an X100F and you need some pointers, tips, whatever, let me know. Or just let me know what type of content you guys want to see, and maybe that will make up your decision if you want to buy this camera or not. Because obviously, what is it, $1,400, $1,500? It's not cheap retail, and if you want to buy it on a secondhand market, if you're paying close to $2,000 for this camera, there's a lot of other cameras, a lot more professional cameras than this. You can get a Sony A7 IV or something for that money, and have a bigger camera that you can switch lenses on. So I guess let me know in the comments what type of things you want to see with this camera, and I'll keep producing content with this, and I'll show you guys, and let me know what you think. Thank you guys. See you later.